Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your SmackDown 205 Live WWE main event results for this week of 7/17/2020. It's July 17th. Birthdays for the week: July 16th, Bobby Lashley. He was born 1976. Excalibur, announcer for AEW, he was born 1980. July 17th birthday. Daphne, formerly in WCW, 1975. Mike Knox, 1978. Mojo Rawley, 1986. July 18th birthdays: Carlos Colon, Sr., 1948. Robert Gibson, 1958. Al Snow, 1963. Joey Mercury, 1979. Mandy Rose, 1991. And July 19th birthdays, recording this on the 19th, we got Jeremy Borash, 1974. Tony Mama Luke, formerly of the Full-Blooded Italians tag team, 1977. Killer Cross in NXT, 1985. Jinder Mahal, 1986, and Ho Ho Lun, 1987. Bobby Fulton, one half of the Fantastic tag team, has been hospitalized, according to his son, Dillon Hines. He posted on his daddy's account on Facebook. And Fulton was diagnosed with throat cancer back in December of 2019 and was declared cancer-free in June. Unfortunately, Fulton has been back in the hospital due to cancer returning, but a different side of his throat. This is Dillon Hines. I'm sadly informing you today that my father has been admitted to the hospital. He's in poor condition. Please send positive thoughts and prayers for him. The cancer has returned to a different part of Dad's throat. We will need a lot of prayers. Thanks. Earlier in the week, Fulton, age 59, announced on his Facebook page that he was retiring fully from pro wrestling. The other day, my son's pastor announced he was going to retire, Fulton wrote. The other day, I looked at a photo of my son, and I last year at Tecumseh, when I was healthy. Today, I announce I am retired from pro wrestling. I'm no longer going to do independent events. There's a lot of contributing factors, but I no longer have the same love for this business I started with in 1977. Thank you to all the support over the years. Who knows, I may drop in to see some old friends one day. I appreciate you all for the support over the years. Thank you. Up until his announcement, Fulton has been making in-ring appearances at indie events and wrestling conventions, but not competing. The content for this week's edition of Main Event, dated from the episode from July 16th, was taped at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Following show results for anyone who has yet to see the episode on Hulu. Shayna Baszler defeated Jesse Camilla by pinfall. Rick Moss defeated Humberto Carrillo by pinfall. Well, Humberto has been on the main roster on Raw lately. So if he's defeating Humberto Carrillo, well, maybe he's going to make his Raw debut soon. Well, SmackDown results. Starts off with a segment backstage. AJ Styles hypes his IC title match against Matt Riddle later. Styles says he only lost previously because Riddle caught him by surprise. But tonight he has no chance because this is his house that AJ Styles built. Matt Riddle wonders if AJ stands for arrogant jackass, quote, and at the end of the night, he'll be the bro who runs the show. Miz and Morrison also talk about Morrison's match against Braun Strowman later on. Morrison says he's terrified. Elsewhere, Braun tells Morrison that the horror show might just start tonight. Looks like we're getting SmackDown Tag Team Championship match at Extreme Rules between The New Day and Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura. The stipulation will be decided later on. Big E and Kofi Kingston versus Cesaro with Shinsuke Nakamura. Winner picks either tables match or steel cage match at Extreme Rules for their tag team title match. Big E goes right after Cesaro, sending him out of the ring. then straight into the stairs. Big E then jams Cesaro into the steps. Back in the ring, Big E charges in and runs straight into the ring post. Cesaro then kicks him down to the floor. Back in the ring, Cesaro leaps off the top turnbuckle, dropping Big E. Covers for a 2 count. Big E then works his way back into the match, throwing big clubbing blows on Cesaro's chest on the apron. Big E then hits his apron splash on Cesaro, then stares at Nakamura as Kofi laughs away. Big E then plants Cesaro down on the mat. Pin and chip, 2 count. Cesaro out on the apron. Big E looking for his spear. Cesaro with a big boot and follows up with a springboard European uppercut. Covers for a 2 count. Big E with a stretch muffler submission in the middle of the ring. Cesaro climbs up on Big E's shoulders. Covers for a 2 count. Cesaro with a big swing. Sharpshooter locked in. Big E then gets out of it. Cesaro lifted up. Hangs on the ropes. Gets swung around. And the referee has to duck out of the way. Nakamura then gets on the apron and kicks Big E when she's looking down. Missed the kick. Cesaro hits the neutralizer for the 3 count. And they get the stipulation. Post-match, Cesaro and Nakamura go to pull a table out from under the ring. But Kofi runs and leaps over the top rope to take them out. Kofi puts Cesaro on the table. He climbs up top, but Nakamura pulls his partner away. Stipulation was not yet picked for the pay-per-view. Backstage, Kayla Braxton talks with King Corbin about Matt Riddle's match against Styles. Corbin says Styles is one of the best ever, while Riddle can't even remember to put his shoes on. He thinks it will be a quick one, with Styles getting the win. Corbin admits Riddle is ambitious, thinking he should go after the biggest names is the right way to go. But he's going to get burned. Corbin says once Styles takes him out, people will see the bro is a little boy. Backstage, Cesaro and Nakamura announced at Sunday it would be a tables match at Extreme Rules against the New Day. A time for a moment of bliss with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. They talk a moment about women's evolution. Bliss then says she wants to look into the future a bit. She predicts Riddle will beat Styles, Strowman will beat Wyatt at Extreme Rules, and her mystery guest will tear the roof off on Sunday. Cross thinks it's her, but it's not. Out shows Sasha Banks and Bayley. Bayley says Cross will be a failure on Sunday. Bayley says about the women's evolution. Bliss forgot to mention Bayley and Sasha Banks, and they are or were the foundation of that evolution. They built the ring they sit in. You're welcome, Banks says. Bayley says after Sunday they will not only be the tag team champions, but they will rule both SmackDown and Raw. Bliss says that's nice and all, but they never let her announce her special guest. Out comes Asuka. Bayley and Banks decide to attack Bliss and Cross during Asuka's entrance. Asuka runs to the ring and helps clear them out. Bliss says these 4 need to settle their issues and calls for a referee. Backstage, Riddle gets ready with Drew Gulak. Earlier in the day, Daniel Bryan believes AJ Styles can be a great fighting champion despite being forced into it. He knows Styles has the fire in him to stay champion, but he's picking Riddle, partly because he knows Gulak is helping him train. Asuka and Nikki Cross versus Sasha Banks and Bayley. Cross goes after Bayley, throwing her head first into the turnbuckle a few times. She tries to do it again, it's blocked. Bayley throws her into the corner. Cross dropped, covers for a 1 count. Banks tags in and swings away. Banks works over Cross, and Bayley tags back in, and she continues to be beat up Cross. Officials get pulled away, so Banks can slam Cross down to the mat. Banks tags in, and Cross has no answer thus far, as she kept in the wrong part of town. Asuka is chopping at the bit to get in the ring with Bayley and chokes Cross. She's finally able to break free. Crawls between Bayley's legs and tags Asuka. She lands a bunch of kicks on Bayley. Banks tries to get in and help, but Asuka runs over both women. Hip attack on Bayley. Banks with a hurricanrana, sending Asuka out of the ring. Banks looks for a baseball slide. Asuka pulls the ring apron out. Very similar to Nikki Cross. Banks is trapped in it. Asuka beats her up. Cross tags in and keeps up the attack. Bailey tries to corner her side, falls into the same trap, and gets beat up. Asuka and Nikki then drop their opponents and celebrate on the announce table. Banks getting some momentum on Asuka. Drops down on her, covers for a 2 count. Bailey tags in, Banks holds Asuka, and Bailey throws a punch. Covers for a 1 count. Asuka with a backside pin. 1 count. Bailey pops right back up and drops Asuka. Elbow drop, covers for a 2 count. Banks gets back in, reverse chin lock, but Asuka starts to find some offense. Bailey gets in there and eats to the face. Asuka finally tags out, clotheslines on Banks. Shots to the midsection, drop kick, monkey flip, splash to the corner, bulldog, covers for a 2 count. Patented moveset of Nikki Cross. Cross off the top rope, misses. Banks with a basement drop kick, covers for a 2 count. Banks tags back in, climbs up top. Cross hits her, and brings her back down. But Bailey sends Cross out to the floor. Back in the ring, Asuka tries for a hip attack, misses. Banks sends her out to the floor. Banks tries for the meteor off the apron on the outside, misses. Eats a kick from Asuka on the outside. Back in the ring, Cross tries for a tornado DDT, but Bailey counters with a pin attempt. Bailey puts her feet on the ropes for leverage, but the referee didn't see it, and that'll do it. The cheating win. Winners still champions, Sasha Banks and Bailey. They didn't even say if it was for the titles or not. Backstage, Miz is trying to tell Morrison that Braun is not so big and scary. Miz says in every good horror film, the hero comes out with the win after they slay the monster. Morrison says every hero also has a best friend who could step up and help out if the hero can't do it. Miz says he has no idea what Morrison's talking about. Morrison has this. Time for a new episode of Firefly Funhouse, which is set out in the swamp. Bray Wyatt, dressed like his old school days, walks along, stares out at the swamp. It's beautiful, isn't it? Peaceful. He talks about when Braun Strowman first stepped foot where he is. Braun was just a lost sheep, but Wyatt gave him the truth and a purpose. We see clips of when the two were a family. Wyatt says, then Strowman left, or so he thought. Wyatt says, this swamp is a place where darkness comes to life and all the horror of the world feels right at home. Wyatt continues that once you enter, you can never truly leave. He says he knows the monster he created is just scratching to come back home. He doesn't think Braun can be on his own. He can't control the gifts he's been given, so he now must have to destroy the monster. You know where to find me, brother. Strowman versus Morrison with The Miz. Braun gets on the mic and says there's a time when a man has to grow up and face his fears. He's going to do that this Sunday when he walks through the gates of hell and smack the devil in his face. Braun said the last thing he wants is Bray Wyatt turning into the Fiend because it's everything that embodies what's bad about him. All of his demons, and he needs to destroy Wyatt before Bray destroys him. And Braun was extremely intense throughout that quick promo. Braun immediately launches Morrison across the ring, steps down on his midsection, and then grinds his foot on Morrison's face. Strowman lifts Morrison up with one arm and then chokeslams him straight back down to the mat. Strowman laughs, then dodges a standing choke on Morrison. He finishes off Morrison with a running power slam, covers, and we're done there. After the match, Braun wants to talk some more. He says he hopes Bray was watching because he's coming home. Braun laughs some more and heads to the back. In the ring, Miz calls out for medical help, and some run out with a stretcher. Morrison doesn't want it, and Miz helps him out of the ring. Lacey Evans makes her entrance as the two go by her. She gives him a look and a laugh as Lacey hits in the ring. Look back at last week's karaoke challenge, which was won by Naomi. A brawl between Evans and Naomi broke out afterwards, as they show the replay. Lacey on the microphone she says Naomi's glow will be nothing but a little sparkle after tonight. Neat feature. Lacey Evans versus Naomi. Drop toe hold by Naomi stomps on her opponent, start the match. She launches Naomi into the corner, sliding knees into a slap, Evans sent to the apron. Leg sweep on Naomi. Followed by a slingshot elbow drop. Evans kicks away at Naomi. Drags her to the corner. Elbow drop. Evans with a bottom rope moonsault. Naomi with her knees up. Kip up. Jumping split leg. Covers for a 2 count. Naomi with a few kicks. Evans blocks one. Women's right misses. Naomi with a step up hurricanrana. Evans on the apron. Eats a kick. They pull both at each other's hair. Evans ties Naomi's hair in the ropes. And Evans rolls away. As Naomi gets her hair undone, she turns around straight into the women's right for the cover in the 3 count. Winner by pinfall, Lacey Evans. Backstage, Kayla talks with Jeff Hardy about Sheamus' taunts to Hardy with toast and trying to get him to drink alcohol. The two will be in a bar fight on Sunday at Extreme Rules. Hardy says it might be risky for him to walk into a bar, but Sheamus is like an addiction, and it's something he has to fight off. Maybe, in the end, Sheamus will look himself in the mirror and not like what he sees. Jeff is asked about tonight's title match and who will win. Before he can answer, Sheamus gives a big boot to the face. Sheamus tells Hardy he is right. He can't wish his demons away. But that's what Sheamus is here to do. Sheamus laughs and heads off with Hardy holding his face. Backstage, Kayla asks Sasha and Bayley if their momentum will continue on Sunday. Bayley says, of course it will, because when she has 2 titles, she has more mass than Nikki. So obviously, she'll win. Bayley says Banks will be 2 belts Banks. That's not science. That's just fate. Backstage, Nikki and Alexa watch Bayley and Sasha on a monitor. Cross says her team should have won tonight, but she doesn't want to blow it on Sunday like she did tonight. Bliss says she'll be just fine. Cross says she just doesn't get the same opportunities as Bliss and doesn't want her to lose with her family watching on. Cross says her confidence is just shaking right now. We hear Bayley and Banks laughing in the distance. Cross runs over and knocks Bayley down from behind. She shoves Banks to the ground and goes back after Bayley. Bliss gathers an anger Cross and heads off as she breaks it up. AJ Styles is champion versus Matt Riddle in a Continental Championship match. Riddle with some gut right suplexes to start. Styles heads out to the floor for a moment to break the momentum. He goes back into the ring and Riddle hits a knee strike to the face. Styles is already frustrated, bashing the announce table with his fist. Riddle goes out and mocks Styles, also banging on the table. Styles charges and takes another shot to the head. Riddle continues to dominate, but Styles finally lifts and plants Riddle face first in the center of the ring. Styles with shots in the corner. Riddle with a shot to Styles, puts him down. Penalty kick misses. Tries again, and that one hits. Riddle with bro to sleep, flips him over, and throws a big knee to the face. Covers for a 2 count. Riddle thought he had it. Styles explodes out of the corner with a clothesline. Back and forth shots in the middle of the ring. Snap German suplex by Riddle. Follows up with a bunch of shots in the corner. Styles lands a kick to the face. That puts Riddle to the mat. Styles with a big clothesline in the corner. Looks for a Styles clash. Riddle drops down to avoid it. Styles tries for a suplex. Counters. Ripcord knee to the face. Styles down. Riddle heads to the top rope. Floating broke. Styles moves out of the way. He looks for a Styles clash. Riddle grabs the ropes. Styles with a shot to the face. Brain buster covers for a 2 count. Styles drives his knee to the back of Riddle's neck. Covers for a 2 count again. Styles on the apron. Looks for a phenomenal forearm. It's caught. Looks for his finisher. Styles kicks away from that. But Riddle lands a low drop kick. Riddle with an open palm strike. Misses with the kick. And Styles lands his own shots. Riddle went for a kick. Nope. Styles locks in a calf crusher. Riddle goes for the ropes. Styles rolls him around and gets it up out again. Riddle then counters with a bro mission, but Styles reverses it out of it and goes for a pin attempt. 1, 2, 3. Out of nowhere. Surprise win by AJ Styles. As Riddle just was surprised. After the match, Riddle can't believe it and looks really disappointed. Styles celebrates a little bit, but then goes over to Riddle and puts his hand out like he's going to handshake. As Riddle shakes it, from behind comes Corbin constipated Corbin. He swings away on Riddle as Styles heads out of the ring. Corbin hits into Days and heads up the ramp. He stares back down the Riddle as the show comes to a close. 205 Live results. After a regular video opener, we see the name Tahuti Miles flash across the Titantron screen as he makes his way down to the ring for the opening match on this week's show. And we got Tahuti Miles versus Mansoor. As he makes his entrance, we hear Vic Joseph and Drew Gulak on commentary for the final 205 Live leading into the horror show at Extreme Rules on Sunday. After a quick on-camera introduction from commentary desk by Joseph and Gulak, we hear the theme of Mansoor as he makes his way to the ring. The music dies down. Mansoor does the Wanderlei Silva wrist roll, and then Miles quickly charges at him with kicks to start off in the offensive lead. Mansoor tries to chop his way back into the dance contest, but Miles uses his strength to remain in the lead. Mansoor again tries scrambling back into the bout, but Miles puts his boot to him to keep him down on the mat. Crowd at ringside cheers Mansoor on, and it seems to have an effect as he now fights his way into the first extended offense run of the match. Mansoor then grounds Miles and slaps on a strong rear chin lock. Then finally work back to their feet, and we see Miles dropping Mansoor on the floor outside the ring with a drop kick as he was in midair, leapfrogging from the ring apron back into the ring. Afterwards, Miles goes out and rams Mansoor into the ring barricade a few times, and we see replays of the aforementioned drop kick spot. Mansoor tries chopping his way back into the bout, but Miles bashes him into the NHL-style protective glass shield, protecting the 50 or so wrestlers watching around inside the Performance Center. And the action finally returns to the ring. Yes, all wearing masks. As if they're not wearing masks, they will get fined $500. Where Miles remains in a comfortable lead. He nails Mansoor in with a nice neck breaker for a near fall before slapping a body scissors on the ribs of Mansoor and grinding his forearm across the face. The fans rally behind Mansoor. It helps him reverse into a pin attempt. However, Miles kicks out at 2. Miles regains the offensive lead again with a flapjack. Miles goes for the same drop kick, leapfrog, cutoff spot that showed replays earlier in the match. However, this time the spot works out for Mansoor, who hits a springboard cutter on Miles. This leads into the nice offensive run for Mansoor, who clotheslines Miles down a few times and then executes a nice drop kick. He then hits an inverted atomic drop into a spine buster, followed by his finisher for the pinfall win. Winner of the match, Mansoor. Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. We see Santos Escobar with Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild. They toast each other and mock Drake Maverick for crying on YouTube to get his job back. Legado del Fantasma talks about being disrespected and out to prove that they are true Lucha Libre artists. They break each other's individual attributes down. Sometimes you have to tear things down to build them back up, says the NXT Cruiserweight Champion before the trio toast each other once again. Next match, we got Tony Nese versus Chase Parker, which he highlights with Isaiah Swerve Scott and the premier athlete Tony Nese in recent weeks, including 2 working on the same page 2 weeks ago in tag team action. From there, we see the ring entrance of said premier athlete, Tony Nese, makes his way down to the square circle for this week's 205 Live main event. After the entrance of Nese, we hear the familiar theme of Ever Rise as Chase Parker makes his way down to the ring, accompanied by Matt Martell. Both men enter the ring and pose together on top turnbuckle in the corner as the crowd inside the WWE Performance Center reacts. The referee makes Martell head out to the ringside. The bell sounds, and Nese Parker match is now underway. Nese quickly uses his strength advantage to ragdoll Parker down to the mat. He does the biceps pose. 2 taunt his opponents before the two reset with a standing collar lockup. Nice takes Parker down using mat wrestling skills to control the action in the early going. He slaps on a side headlock as Parker works his way back to a vertical base. Parker hits the ropes, but Nice shoulder blocks him back down with authority. He goes back to work with half Nelson to the body of Parker with his legs. This turns into a pin attempt for Nice, then directly into an arm drag and a standing arm lock with Parker finally escaping once he pushes Nice into the corner. Now the referee is distracted by Martel on the outside. However, all this does is allow Parker to walk right into a perfectly timed back elbow from the premier athlete, who was waiting for Parker to try and take advantage of the situation. Nice continues to control the action, going to work on the arm of Parker. Once again, Martel gets involved at ringside. However, this time, the distraction works to Parker's advantage. The Emperor's member is now in full control of the offense in this one. As he goes to work, focusing his attack on the arm of the premier athlete. We see a close-up shot of the fans at ringside, clapping and rallying behind Nice in their COVID-19 friendly face mask. Parker crowns Nice with a running bulldog and goes back to work on his arm with an arm lock, and then several stomps on it before applying another an isolated arm lock on the softened limb of the premier athlete. Nice backs Parker into the corner with great emphasis, twice breaking free from the hold. He sends Parker flying with a throw when he tries another bulldog. This leads into a run of offense featuring a lot of unique kicks and takedowns from Nice, capped off by a nice springboard moonsault for a close near fall. Afterwards, we see replays of the beautiful moonsault spot from Nice. The premier athlete goes for another big move, but Martel hops on the apron for distraction. Nice sends Parker into Martel, knocking him down on the floor. This sends Parker back into a big shot and a finisher follow-up from Nice for the 1-2-3 and the victory. After the match, Emma Rise attacks. Isaiah Swerve Scott comes down to make the save to help out Nice. After the match, Parker and Martel gang up on Nice for a 2-on-1 beatdown of the premier athlete. They put the boots in Nice and then set him up for their double team finisher until Isaiah Swerve Scott hits the ring to make the save, continuing the unlucky alliance between longtime 205 Live rivals Nice and Scott as this week's show goes off the air. Thanks again. Peace out. See you in a bit. And if you don't know, just call me brothers and sisters.